The president hosting a high-stakes meeting with the Democrat leaders live for all to see, demanding $5 billion in wall funding, saying he would own a shutdown if it came down to it.
I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it.
Trump adding he would even go around Democrats if they don't deliver the votes to get there. Here to react, counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway. Merry Christmas, Kellyanne.
Merry Christmas, Jesse.
All right, so do you believe it's risky for the president to own the shutdown? I understand he thinks immigration is a good issue for him. Is it because he sees this as the last chance to get the wall funding until the House maybe flips in 2020?
This is way beyond immigration or even the wall. This is border security, and border security is national security. This president has made clear that his primary duty to all of us in this country, Jesse, is to keep us safe. And we see what happens when you have a porous border. You have poison like fentanyl and heroin and cocaine pouring over. You have people trying to come here illegally. You have people being promised by coyotes and others that they've paid thousands of dollars to, maybe more, promises that cannot be delivered upon. And look what's happened to many of those folks trying to come here. And this is a president who knows that we as a nation have been spending billions of dollars over decades helping other nations protect their own sovereign borders. It's high time we do it here.
That's a great
point.
Now,
he also knows that there were 26 Democrats in the Senate who voted for the Secure Fences Act in 2006. And they were none other, let me just highlight a few for you, Senator Joe Biden, Senator Barack Obama, Senator Chuck Schumer, and Senator ding, 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 Hillary Clinton. So what's happened on the border since the 2006 Secure Fences Act was voted on? It got worse. It's more porous.
Well, it's interesting. Since they started building any sort of fencing, wherever they built it, immigration through that area halted, it funnels the foot traffic of the illegals to softer points. So wherever the walls are, the walls work. Let me show you some sound of how the people in the media are framing the border security issue. Listen to this.
The president went to the heart of what I call his brown menace theory. These migrants, they're dirty people. They bring disease.
This border wall thing is about controlling the browning of America.
Donald Trump is fixated on the southern border, as he was the day that he announced this campaign. It is not about securing the borders. It is about xenophobic, racist, bigoted beliefs.
So the media is racializing border security.
Always.
And if you look at all of the polls, a majority of Americans, they want border security. They're against sanctuary cities. They're anti-caravan. But then when you hear people say, oh, you want border security, you must be racist. Do you think that's backfiring on the left?
It does backfire because people are very focused on what the issue at hand here truly is. And it's whether or not you want a Customs and Border Patrol. There's brave men and women at the border who say they need enhancements, they need better security, they need electronic enhancements, they need fences, they need walls, whether they're concrete or not. They need border security. They're telling us they're not cosseted on some and protected on some fancy TV set in Washington or New York, pontificating. They are actually doing the job to keep us all safe at the border.
This is a pretty nice set, I have to admit.
There you go. Well, I wasn't talking about you, but yes, it is. And by the way, this is a pretty nice perch, too, while we're at it. But CPB, ICE, all those dum-dums who want to abolish ICE. Do you know what ICE did just last year? They surveilled enough fentanyl to have killed every man, woman, and child in this country. They're stopping the human smugglers, the child smugglers, the drug smugglers, and folks who are coming over here with criminal records. Now, the mainstream media want us all to believe, Jesse, that the president thinks everybody who wants to come here is a bad person. No, he doesn't. In fact, the president says constantly he wants people to come here, but come here legally. Add to the list of the 33 million people who have come to this country, immigrated here legally over the years because we're so generous and welcoming. But if anyone is smuggling a child, if anyone is smuggling drugs, if people are coming here for nefarious reasons, if they're MS-13 gang members, you know that number's not zero, not even close to zero. So people ought to get off their high horses and focus on what this is, border security as national security.
Right. All right, I want to switch gears to Nancy Pelosi. I guess your new compadre over there, you're going to have to be dealing with her quite a lot in the next 2 years, at the most, I would say. This is what she did the other day. She actually scolded the media. Listen to this scolding.
I wish that the press would spend a lot more time on what we need to do here to meet the needs of the American people. instead of morning, noon, and night allegations against the president. I think you'd have more viewers or readers if it addressed concerns that people have rather than just this ongoing coverage of what's current with the president from one day to the next.
That is remarkable.
Is Nancy stealing your job, Kellyanne? I mean, she sounds exactly like a Republican.
She does, and indeed, she sounds like me, who's always talking about not biased coverage, because that's easy to see, right, where you want to see it, but incomplete coverage. We're not having policy discussions. I tried to have some this week on a competitor network, doesn't do as well as your network, because I like to get the president's message out to different audiences, and just get shut down and constantly interrupted when I try to talk about policy. It's that you're deflecting, diverting, pivoting. No. I actually want people to have news they can use. Let's make sure our veterans know what's available to them. Let's make sure workforce development measures and all these opportunities people have to get one of those 7 million Trump-created jobs, that they know about it, that they understand what it means to be one of the 30 million Americans that still doesn't have health insurance 8.5 years after Obamacare was passed. We want people to have news they can use, right, not everybody's opinion, which of course is not news. But when Pelosi says that, she sounds an awful lot like Jesse. Also, those Democrats are saying, no, we're not talking about indictment, impeachment. No. We're going to work on infrastructure. Okay, I'm going to hold them to it. Impeachment, no. Out. Infrastructure in. Great. Let's work. We have a builder here in the White House. Let's work on a big project.
Let's work together.
Let's do it together. Let's create those jobs and build stuff and repair the dams and the bridges and the water mains that break and everything else.
Yeah, water mains breaking all over New York City, but I blame Bill de Blasio for that.
Why not?
Someone else that's been making a lot of sense on the left. I mean, I can't even believe it. Something's happening here. Claire McCaskill had a little advice for the Democratic Party. Sounds similar. Let's listen.
One of the mistakes that we make as a party is spending too much time talking about the gender thing. You know, we are a party of all kinds of people. And, you know, white working class men have traditionally been a huge part of our party. We have lost a lot of them. And one of those reasons is we've had a tendency to talk maybe too much about gender.
Oh, so Claire's saying Democrats stop playing the gender card. Kellyanne, 30 seconds, all yours.
They usually only discover this, Jesse, after they lose.
Right. I'm sure it's a coincidence.
Part of why she lost, because she's running for re-election in Missouri, but amidst a Democratic Party that's veering so far to the left, they can't even reach the middle if they stretch their arms out. Also, I'll remind you that Senator McCaskill told your colleague Bret Baier in an interview on Fox News on October 29th, she thought the president should use every tool at his disposal to try to secure that border. She was 100% with him. She backs him up. That was to try to mollify many of those Trump voters. In her state, a state he carried by 19 points, and she just lost. But she lost not just because she's wrong on the issues, but because people look up and they see Democrat now, and they know that you're for socialized medicine. And she, of course, voted against Brett Kavanaugh and lost her seat also. But also she said, look, the president tapped into the frustration and anger of many voters who feel like their work is not being dignified. In her state of Missouri, manufacturers, if there are miners, construction, those jobs are way up, as is the confidence levels.
All right, Kellyanne, Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Jesse. Merry Christmas. God bless.
Have a good one.
Take care.